Hey everyone, in this video today, I am talking to you about two family stories, that is two separate clients of mine who had completely different experiences when moving or relocating to Charleston and some of the surrounding areas like Mount Pleasant. So this video is going to have both stories, so make sure you stick around to the end where I'm going to give you some great information to help you prevent some of the pitfalls that each one of these families made, and maybe it'll help your move in making a better decision, an even more informed decision on where you want to live. Starting off with my first story, this is about the Johnson family. Now, when the Johnson family decided to leave their small landlocked town in the Midwest, they had dreams of a full life of sunshine, saltwater, and endless outdoor activities. Can you blame them? They had longed for a place where every weekend could be spent on the water. And after months of research, Johns Island in Charleston seemed like the perfect spot. It had everything they wanted: proximity to the beach, scenic marsh views, and plenty of space for their growing family. And for John, the husband, his biggest selling point was being so close to the water. He couldn't wait to spend his weekends fishing and cruising with his boat. He had this great boat. Oh, loved his boat. The house they bought, though, even though it had a large backyard, perfect for storing the boat, right? Especially if you have a privacy fence, or so they thought. They were blindsided when their new HOA informed them that boats were not allowed to be parked at the home, even behind the fence.
Darn it.
So instead, John had to rent space at the storage facility, adding to the cost that he hadn't initially budgeted for. Now, meanwhile, Sarah, his wife, she quickly discovered that the idyllic life on Johns Island came with another unexpected challenge: the commute. The drive on and off the island during rush hour was far more stressful than she had actually initially anticipated. Because see, when they came here and they drove around while everybody was at work. And so it wasn't until they drove it in the morning and then again in the afternoon where they realized, whoa, this does back up pretty quickly. So the idea in the non-stress drive that she had imagined as a peaceful journey through the beautiful, and trust me, the drive in Johns Island is absolutely beautiful. If you haven't taken it and you don't plan on moving there, just take the drive. It's beautiful. This idea that she had for this peaceful journey now was just giving her headaches every single day, navigating the traffic, trying to go and take other roads. And so it took a toll on her mood and all her energy, as many probably understand what it's like when you have to commute children around, or you have to go to events or go shopping. Little errands like that can become what seems like maybe a 1 or 2 hour commute at times. So their kids, Emma and Jake, had their own struggles too. They initially enrolled in a local Johns Island public school, but it didn't take long for them to express dissatisfaction. The schools just didn't quite meet their family's expectations. This is why I tell everyone you gotta do your due diligence. And soon they found themselves researching private schools, another expense that they hadn't planned for. The costs of relocating were quickly piling up: HOA fees, boat storage, private school tuition, the emotional costs of stress and frustration from being in the traffic. And for a while, the Johnsons actually debated on moving, and they couldn't help but wonder if they had just made the wrong decision. The financial strain and the unexpected challenges made them second guess their choice and their overall move to Charleston, because they weren't living that, live, work, play lifestyle. They began to wonder if they should have just chosen a neighborhood that they could store their boat at, maybe go in a non-HOA area. And they might have better access to top-rated public schools, and where Sarah wasn't going crazy from her commute and it being absolutely draining on her. Fast forward 3 years later, and I actually just ran into the Johnson family, and they're looking back at everything on those early days, and now they laugh at how much they've grown since then. And John now loves his boat storage facility. It's become a place of community. It's a boat storage facility, and so he's met other fellow boat enthusiasts, fishermen, and finds joy in being able to work on and clean his boat in that dedicated space, free from the constraints of being at home. Sometimes just cleaning your boat at home in the driveway isn't always the easiest. Sarah has also found her rhythm, though the commute remains a part of her daily life. She's adjusted her schedule to avoid the worst traffic times and even found a new few peaceful back roads. She was telling me, she's like, oh, I've got all the back roads down now, Ryan. It's fine. And I go, well, at least the drive has become her quiet time, a moment that she can listen to her favorite podcast and just simply enjoy how beautiful Johns Island really is. And for her kids, Emma and Jake, they're thriving in the private school because the smaller classroom sizes, the more focused attention they have to their kids and their learning, and they excel academically and socially. And that's one of the big draws to doing a private school. So they've made close friends, and weekends are often spent with them at the local county parks or being out on their boat. And the parks and outdoor activities they had once dreamed of, and that was the whole point. Like, their whole point of moving here was to live that outdoor activity lifestyle, enjoy their family, and do it somewhere where they can actually go out and take their boat or go to the beach. The family has also grown to love the community of Johns Island because of its proximity and embrace the close-knit neighborhood that they live in now. Finding comfort in familiar faces and local events tends to help you kind of get used to an area. The proximity to the beaches has become an absolute sanctuary. And why wouldn't it be? A place where you can unwind, reconnect with your family. There's just something about being at the ocean and sitting there and watching the waves come in that it seems just very peaceful. I don't know if it's inherent, but those obstacles now become a testament to resilience and adaptability. Adaptability is a testament to adaptability.
I'm really proud of you, man.
The Johnsons' journey serves as a good reminder, though, and this is what I tell everyone, that while moving to a new place can come with some unexpected challenges, it can also lead to unexpected joys. Hey, if you're absolutely loving this information and you're getting ready to watch the next story, do me a favor and leave me a comment or hit like below. I want to know what your thoughts are on this family story and what you want to know about moving or relocating here. And most importantly, if you are looking to move or relocate here, feel free to reach out, shoot me a call, text, email, carrier pigeon. It doesn't matter. You want to send an alligator, send an alligator.
Gator don't play no shit.
We like those alligators down here. 843-226-5535. Now on to our next story. Now coming up, let's talk about the Miller family. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Miller. They asked me not to use their first names. I did connect with them and was like, hey, I want to talk about your story. They were like, that's fine, just don't use our first names. I said, cool. And so I will not be referencing them from a first name standpoint. It will be Mr. and Mrs. Miller, but they were eagerly anticipating their next chapter in their lives. They reached out to me. They had 2 kids already in college. Their youngest was about to graduate high school, and Mr. and Mrs. Miller were absolutely looking forward to an empty nest, right? But they had always loved visiting Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. They had vacation there. Wild Dunes in Isle of Palms was another area they vacationed, but from a budgetary standpoint, Mount Pleasant was much more appealing than Isle of Palms. And the idea of waking up every day in a coastal town with absolutely great restaurants, beautiful views, relaxed lifestyle, it all felt like a dream to both of them. So when the opportunity arose to sell their home and move out of state, they didn't hesitate. Their new home was everything they had hoped for: spacious, bright, and perfectly situated near the water. I mean, they were like 4.5 minutes to Isle of Palms Beach. I mean, amazing. They spent their days exploring local restaurants, enjoying long bike rides, all along the waterfront, and they would have these weekend gatherings at their home with friends. So life felt pretty perfect in Mount Pleasant, and they couldn't imagine living anywhere else. Now, recently, if you don't recall, we have Hurricane Debbie. Debbie came recently. It started as a distant storm, something that they had monitored on the news and really didn't pay much attention to. After all, their neighborhood didn't require flood insurance, so they assumed they were in a safe zone. But as the storm grew stronger and shifted towards the coast, their sense of security began to absolutely waver. A lot of their neighbors started talking about evacuation, and the Millers found themselves just like, hey, we're gonna pack our bags and We're gonna leave our beloved home behind, and they drove inland to stay with some of their friends who live in Nexton and Summerville. But the fear and anxiety really followed them. Every update on the storm's path brought, a whole new set of panic. They couldn't shake the thought of their home, their investment, most importantly, their dream could be wiped out in an absolute instant. As they sat in their friend's living room, glued to the weather reports, Mrs. Miller couldn't help but voice her fears. What if we lose everything? We've worked so hard for this place. I don't know if I can go through this again. That was all of the things, the worries and fears that she was experiencing. And Mr. Miller, he was like trying to reassure her, but deep down, he kind of shared her worries a little bit. I mean, this home they paid for from the exit of their home out of state, and pretty much put all of their money, all of their chips into this home. So the storm felt like an absolute wake-up call, a reminder of the unpredictable nature of coastal living. So it's just something you need to be aware of. And the emotional toll of wondering whether they'd return to a flooded or damaged home was kind of overwhelming, and it would be for anybody. When the storm finally passed and the Millers were able to return to Mount Pleasant, they were relieved to find that their home was still standing, mostly untouched. They did have quite a bit of debris and tree debris and stuff like that, which is to be expected. But the experience had left a mark on both of them. Mrs. Miller immediately began to question whether they should truly cut out for the coastal lifestyle, especially during hurricane season. The idea of moving inland became kind of more appealing and somewhat safer, but somewhere without constant worry and storms and flooding. It was just kind of like anybody would anticipate that kind of reaction to a big storm like Debbie. Yet, the decision wasn't so simple. The value of their home had skyrocketed since they purchased it, nearly tripling in worth. Selling it now could set them up comfortably for years to come, but it also meant letting go of a place they'd grown to love. And they found themselves torn between the fear of what could happen and the joy of life that they had built there in Mount Pleasant. Ultimately, the Millers decided to stay in Mount Pleasant, but with a new perspective. When we just had this conversation, they added flood insurance to their policy, understanding that while it wasn't required, it was a good necessary precaution. And they also took steps to have their home more storm resistant. They told me they're going to be putting in storm shutters this year. So they're going to be doing stuff that are going to make those home improvements that, one, is going to help their property value, but two, give them peace of mind during future hurricane seasons. And that's something you need to remember. If you're not familiar or you're not used to storms or hurricanes, this could be somewhat of a different experience for you. The experience with Hurricane Debbie had been a harsh lesson, but it also strengthened their resolve. And they realized that living near the coast came with risks, but it also came with rewards. They weren't ready to give up that lifestyle they loved, and they learned how to better protect themselves from dangers that came with it. For other buyers looking to live near the coast, you need to understand the Miller story serves as both cautionary tale and somewhat a testament, and you got to understand that coastal living can be absolutely unpredictable. But with the right precautions and a little bit of preparation, just a little bit, it's possible to enjoy the best of both worlds, the beauty of the ocean and security of a well-protected home. Just take away from each one of those stories that, hey, everybody can have a little bit of a different experience moving here, but the most important thing, and this is a huge tip that I'm going to give you right now, and you need to understand this, is if you're moving or relocating here, you need to work with a professional who understands what these neighborhoods are like, what the lifestyle is like. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to move to Charleston, South Carolina tomorrow. It's not going to work out that easy. You need someone like myself or folks on my team that can assist you. My team is the absolute best at what we do. We make things happen for people, and we also make sure you do it the right way. We're not going to waste your time. I mean, there's a lot of agents that'll just let you go down an aisle, and that may be the wrong way to go. Whereas our team, we're gonna be like, no. We need to go this way and make sure you do it this way so it's done the right way the first time. We're not wasting a whole lot of time. And we're gonna inform you so that you make an informed and, most importantly, the best decision for you and your family. If you're moving or relocating here, you reach out. You can go ahead and register at my website, www.buyfromrye.com. charlestonSC.com. And I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you want to see some great neighborhoods right here in Charleston and Mount Pleasant, go ahead and click this video right here.